All right, my beloved Madridistas everywhere, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Madrid. Okay, let me give you my thoughts on tomorrow's match. This is the biggest club match in the world by far. These are the two biggest clubs in the world. They're also the clubs, I think, that hate each other the most in the entire world. I mean, these matches are really special. I also think that this is, technically speaking, the best football match you can watch. I mean, the skill level of these players, the 22 players that are going to be on the pitch tomorrow are just exceptional. I love the English Premier League, watch it religiously. We all do, I'm sure. But the style of play is more about speed and power. I think in terms of technical skill on the ball, you're just not going to see a better match in the world than what we're going to witness tomorrow. Okay, massive match. I want to give you guys my thoughts on possible formations, what I think we should do in terms of formation, and what I think our options are. And then I want to give you guys my 5 keys in terms of winning this match. The 5 things that I think are absolutely critical in terms of bringing home another trophy for the industrial-sized trophy museum that Real Madrid owns. So anyway, let me give you my thoughts. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's talk about this incredible match tomorrow night. Let's get started. Right, Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, let's talk about this huge match in Saudi Arabia tomorrow night. Now let's start talking about the lineups and what I think should happen and what sort of our options are. Now we've been playing the last couple of matches. We've been playing a 4-3-3, and as I mentioned, I think it's something we can get away with when we play against sort of more modest opposition. I think in tomorrow's match we should go back to a 4-4-2. I really hope Carlo does this. We're going to need, I think we need to stack the middle of the pitch. We need that extra body defensively in terms of even pressing. I think it's going to make a very big difference if we sort of stack the middle of the field and have that extra body. So I would like to see us go to a 4-4-2. Now, in terms of how we do that, there are basically, 2 main options, right? We can either play with a sort of diamond, where you have Jude playing in a number 10 position just behind the forwards. And I have to say that the big advantage of this system is that Jude plays with a lot more space, a lot more freedom, a lot more mobility. Jude participates a lot more in attack. And very importantly, it leaves that channel open for Jude to come up the middle. And that's how he's been scoring goals, all of last year. And he knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think it's a really good weapon that I think we need to utilize. The other possibility would be a 4-4-2 where you have kind of a double pivot and you'd have Camavinga and Fede in front of the defense. Now, the advantages to that obviously are that you just have more muscle defensively. But one of the drawbacks is that you would necessarily have to push Jude to the left. And I find that in the matches when we've done that, we sort of lose a lot. I think, Jude is a little bit wasted when he's tucked off to the left. I think he finds it harder to participate in attack. He seems to be a little bit late in transitions. I just think that Jude is much better utilized with more space, more freedom in the number 10 position. But like I say, the double pivot gives us that additional muscle defensively. This is a big decision that Ancelotti is going to have to make, but I think those are sort of the 2 options that I see. In terms of the lineup, there are some permutations that you can see here. Now, the 4-3-3, I mean, this is what it would presumably look like. I don't think he'll go for this. This is probably, I think, as good a lineup as we can put together if we do a 4-3-3. It's very offensive, but I think a little bit too risky when you're only playing 90 minutes against a team that can hurt you on the counter like this. So look, I'm hoping for a 4-4-2. I'm hoping for the diamond, but this is down to Ancelotti, and we'll have to see. Okay, now keys of the match. Let me tell you my sort of 5 things that I think are really, really important tomorrow. First of all, let's talk about the high press. Now, both of these teams like to press high. And both of these teams absolutely hate it when it's done to them. So these are, two teams that don't like it. Now, they're both very good. They both know how to come out the back, play the ball out. They certainly have the technical skill to do it, both of them. But they're both teams that really don't like it when you do it to them. So it'll be really, really interesting to see how we handle that. Now, I think, it is important that we try. There are a couple of important things regarding the high press. We should try it. If you steal a ball in a good position on the pitch, we have so much firepower up front. We can convert those chances, and I think it's important to try it. But I think it's extremely important, and I think they practice this stuff a lot, that when you're pressing high, but you see that the other team has managed to get that outlet ball in further up on the pitch, you all have to recoil very, very quickly, and you all have to do it in unison, and you have to do it together. So I think the high press is not a bad idea, but the moment that we see that continued pressing isn't going to work because they found the space, we all have to recoil very, very quickly. I think that's really important because these guys are really speedy, and they can get the ball up front very fast. Now, another thing I would mention in terms of the high press, because they're definitely going to do it to us, I think it can be quite effective to play long. And I know that, we have the skill to play the ball out the back, but sometimes the pressure is effective and sometimes it's very hard to get the ball at the back. And with the speed that we have up front, I don't think there's anything wrong with Courtois looking for those long diagonal balls out to Vini and Kylian. So if we perceive any trouble getting the ball out, I don't think there's anything wrong with combining playing the ball out sometimes, but playing the long ball on other occasions. I think it adds an element of surprise, and it just removes the pressure instantly. And then Barca has to run back and get settled into defense. So it's, I think, a weapon that we need to use, and I think we should alternate between the long ball and playing the ball out, depending on how the players are positioned. But the high press and the execution of the high press are going to be very, very important. Okay, number two, the famous offside trap, okay? In the 0-4 that, I had to suffer in the Bernabeu, tragically, Kylian was caught offsides, I think, on 8 occasions. It's something completely ridiculous. Now, we know that they've been playing like this all year, and we know that they're going to deploy this sort of offside trap. They play a very high line. They've done a really good job so far this season doing it, but it is a very risky strategy, and there are ways that you can break that offside trap, okay? First of all, we need to look for through balls are going to be critical. We need to, so out and in and out. Okay, so we need to look for runs. If we have the ball in the middle of the pitch, try to get the ball behind the defenders and look for those wings coming in from the side. You can break the offside trap if you time these passes well. You can do it inside out. You can also do it outside in. You can have the ball on the wing and have players running up the middle and just getting the ball behind the defenders. And if we can time those runs, you basically break the defense entirely, because at that point you're almost in a one-on-one. So, they've been playing the trap very well, but we can get behind it if the runs are right, and if the timing of the passes are correct. Another thing that we can do against the offside trap is to have players, that are a little bit further back to bring the ball forward. So if you have a Fede and a Camavinga or some, moving the ball forward, they're obviously expecting the pass forward, but if you make a run for a player that usually stays back, starts running up the middle, starts pushing the ball forward, that can create a problem for a team, because once you break that once you break that line, you're wide open. It's a very dangerous strategy that Barca's utilizing. They've done it very well, but there are ways of breaking it. And I think running the ball up from the back, and skipping one line, we can surprise them. And again, it's a risky strategy of theirs, but I think we have the skill. If Kama and Fede occasionally make runs forward, I think we can surprise them. So that's also going to be, I think, quite important. Okay, the third key issue, I think, is that we're going to really need to focus on shutting down Rafinha and Lamine. I know that's easier said than done, but the pivots are going to have to help on the wings, because Rafinha is playing out of his skin. Okay, I don't know what Hansi Flick is feeding him for breakfast these days, but Rafinha is playing the best football of his life. He's been phenomenal this year. He has incredible speed. His finishing is outrageously good in the last couple of months. And Lamine, of course, is unbelievably destabilizing. He's a player that can dribble through, a rock concert. I mean, these players are incredibly skillful. We're going to have to double up on them from time to time. And that means that Fede and Kama, are going to have to work extra hard to give our right and left backs a bit of support. But I think it's going to be very important that we contain those runs on the wings. Okay, number 4. Look, Barça, they love to play in possession. They love to sort of, pass the ball around the box over and over and over. Windshield wiper football has always been a part of their DNA. But I think it's going to be important for us to not settle in too low a block. Okay, it's okay that they have possession and to look for a counter. I mean, I think that's fine, but don't settle the block too deep, because if you do, sooner or later they will score. If you track back too much, and which opens up outside shooting. If you go back too far, they have the skill with a little give and go and quick passing to break through your defensive line. It also invites shots from outside the box. So I think that it's okay to not have possession, but I think that we need to press them much earlier, a little bit closer to the middle of the pitch. That's when we need to start poking, putting our foot in, trying to steal the ball. Don't come all the way back in a low block and just hand them the ball and wait, because I think that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, number 5, I think that we need to deploy shots from distance. Now, if you have threats from distance, which we do, Camavinga perhaps less so, but Fede has an absolute gun. Jude shoots very well from distance. If we can do that, that opens up a lot of possibilities, because when you have the threat of a shot from outside the box, a shot from distance, it does open up some passing possibilities. It allows you, the defender has to come closer to you, but that allows you to see a passing lane, and it opens up different combinations. So I think if we can threaten them from distance, I think it'll make our interior play a little bit more dangerous. So I think that'll be key as well. So look, this is going to be a really, really interesting match, incredibly high tension. And, when these two teams play, it really is, they play like it's the last match on earth. There's no such thing as a friendly even between these two. Now, prior to the 0-4 in the Bernabeu, we had defeated Barca, I think, 4 times in a row. And we need to get back to that. I for some reason, I always have the feeling that when Barca beats us, it feels more amplified in the press. I don't know if this is true or not, but it just feels to me like we beat them 4 or 5 times in a row and nobody says anything. They beat us once and my God, they're talking about it for 6 months. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but we definitely need to get back on track. I think pound for pound, we are better. And I think we should win. And, don't forget that when it comes to finals, Real Madrid has a psychological edge. There's something about this club when it comes to finals. Yes, they have beaten us in La Liga on a few occasions in a resounding manner. But I don't know, there's something about finals that I think really, kind of gets into the DNA of this club. I mean, we play finals very well. And I think that psychologically we have an edge for that reason. So look, those are, I think, the keys. I just want to mention that the reason why Barca is so dangerous this year, and I perhaps should have started with this, but they're very dangerous because they combine incredibly good interior play with incredibly dangerous wingers, and they know how to finish. So this is a team that can kill you on the wings. But they have, players in the middle that are have great vision, incredibly skillful. Pedri, Gavi, De Jong, these guys, they know how to make passes. They know how to find space. So this is a team that can kill you in the middle of the pitch. They can kill you on the wings. And they're much better at finishing than they were last year. I mean, this is a team that knows how to finish. So Barca's very dangerous this year. If you notice, they're inconsistent, but they tend to do better against big teams. I don't know if you noticed this. What they did in the Bernabeu, what they did in Dortmund. I mean, these are very difficult places to play, but they tend to perform better against strong opposition this year. The slip-ups they have tend to be against modest teams, and that could be just a lack of concentration. But Barca is extremely dangerous this year for the reasons I just mentioned. So I think it's going to be a very tough match. But anyway, that's what I think. I'd love to hear your comments, especially regarding the formation. Let me know what you think in terms of what that starting 11 should look like and what the formation should look like. I'd love to hear your opinion. But anyway, thanks for joining me as always. And, let's hope our boys do it tomorrow. And anyway, thanks for joining me as always. Love you guys. And as always, a la Madrid.